One thing that's essential if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to develop the right mindset to be an entrepreneur is you need to get rid of unrealistic expectations. And I'm going to cover that in this video. Because there are a lot of myths and misconceptions about starting a business on the internet. People think that it is a walk in the park when in fact it isn't, and it can be very time consuming and it can be very stressful. But let's just look at some of the myths and misconceptions that people have. Well, the first myth is that you can work anytime. You can make X $1,000s a day at home in your underwear. All you got to do is work a couple of hours whenever you feel like doing it. Well, unfortunately, work anytime often means work all the time, because you find that there's a lot of things to do in starting up an online business. And of course, in the early days when it's just you, well, you have to do it. And so you can find that all of your time gets taken up by your business. You find that you end up burning the midnight oil every night because you simply have got to get these things done and there's nobody around to do it but you. And another myth is that you can get rich quick. All you've got to do is put up your website, find a few products to sell, and hey presto, the money is going to roll in tidal waves of cash, and all you've got to do is just figure out how you're going to spend it. Well, the vast majority of internet entrepreneurs don't make a lot of money, and the money that does come in tends to be in dribs and drabs, especially to start off with. Lots of internet entrepreneurs only have the internet as a part-time income. They still have a job to provide their main income. And it's often after being in business for several years that they're making enough money that they can actually quit their job and go on to internet marketing full-time. So it's get rich slow or not get rich at all rather than get rich quick. Another myth about the internet is that you don't need a business plan. Well, let me tell you, you need a business plan for every business, and an online business is no exception. You need to have some idea as to the amount of money that you're going to make. You need to have some idea as to the sort of cash flow that you're going to expect. You have to have some goal in mind that you want your business to achieve. And it's no different for an online business than it is for an offline business. Another reason that a lot of people get into internet marketing or become an entrepreneur and run their own business is because there's no boss. You're not going to have a boss shouting at you. You're not going to have someone giving you unrealistic deadlines. You're not going to have to take the heat from somebody else. You're not going to be the designated can carrier if something goes wrong. But the flip side to that is, of course, when there's no boss, well, you're the boss. And let me tell you, you will never work for a harder taskmaster than yourself. You will be on your own case 24/7. Whereas, of course, when you have a boss, you say goodbye to them at the end of the working day and go home. But when you're working for yourself, when you're the boss, you are on your own case all the time. Plus, of course, when you have a boss, you can pass all the decisions, the really hard decisions, upstairs. And if something goes wrong, well, that's their problem, not yours. But of course, when you're the boss, you have to make all the decisions, right or wrong. And that can weigh very heavily on your shoulders. There's nobody else to pass that on to. You have to make all the decisions because, well, you're the boss. So not having a boss has its downside as well as its upside. Now, when it comes to being an online entrepreneur, most people have expectations that are unrealistic and cannot be achieved. So unless you're a magician, there really is no way for those things to come true. For instance, earning an unlimited income is simply way too out of this world. Even billionaires cannot dream of a paycheck this big. Even people like Bill Gates don't have an unlimited income. It just simply doesn't happen. So it's time to get real, folks. Setting the bar too high when you start your internet business, when you decide to become an entrepreneur, only leads to disappointment and frustration. So do yourself a favor and do not fall into this trap. Your expectations for your business, for its profitability, for the amount of time that you're going to have to put into it should be grounded on reality. And quite frankly, being an entrepreneur online is not that different from being an entrepreneur offline. The same sort of decisions had to be made. It's just that you're trading in an online environment rather than a physical bricks and mortar environment. And when you start any business, offline or online, you have to bear several things in mind. First of all, it's going to take longer than you think. And second of all, it's going to cost more than you expect. I've heard it said that you should work out how long you think it's going to take and how much it's going to cost and then double it, because that's going to be nearer the real result. I suppose it's human nature to think that you can do something quicker and cheaper than it actually works out to be. And remember, to get to the top, well, you have to expect trials and even failure once in a while. It's all part of being an entrepreneur.